Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Y'all better get it. Black Queens forever. Black power. Make some noise, South Africa. Make some noise. The last time that I was in Durban, it was during the Fees Must Fall rally, 2016. I had the opportunity to speak with some of the student leaders. In fact, many of them. They jam-packed some of the universities here in Durban and also in Cape Town. I was disappointed to learn a few months later that the Fees Must Fall movement had been crushed. Brothers and sisters, it's an honor to be here with you tonight. South Africa is very special to Dr. Urma, and for a lot of reasons. And one of those reasons is due to the fact that a lot of what you suffer here in South Africa, although you are 80% population, is very similar to what your American African brothers and sisters suffer across the pond in the United States. A lot of what they do here, they do to us. And a lot of what they do to us, they do over here. Brothers and sisters, a lot of wars that have to be fought in South Africa. There's a lot of wars the continent. There's a lot of wars that have to be fought across the diaspora. I was in Belgium not too long ago, and I bring you revolutionary Pan-African greetings from your African brothers and sisters in the belly of the beast in Belgium. I was in London a few weeks ago at the Oxford Union, debating the father of Elon Musk, Mr. Elon Musk, on neocolonialism in Africa. I bring you revolutionary greetings from your African brothers in the UK. I was in Toronto, Canada not too long ago, where they're standing strong against the forces of racism throughout Canada. And I bring you revolutionary greetings from your brothers and sisters in Canada. I was in Guadeloupe and Barbados and Bahamas and Jamaica not too long ago. And again, I bring you revolutionary greetings from your brothers and sisters across the Caribbean islands. And I was in Australia for the first time a few months ago. And I bring you revolutionary greetings from your African brothers and sisters in the land down under in Australia. Brothers and sisters in South Africa, you have to recommit yourself to the liberation of not only South Africa, but the entire mother continent. And as you fight this war against neo-apartheid, because that's exactly what it is. Apartheid never fell. What happened on April 27th, 1994 was a dress rehearsal for the new apartheid. How can apartheid be over when 40% of black women in South Africa are unemployed? How can apartheid be over when 47% of black youth in South Africa are unemployed? How can apartheid be over when 71% of all managerial jobs in South Africa are still under the control of white people? How can apartheid be over when more than 70% of all land in South Africa is still controlled and dominated by Caucasians? How can apartheid be over when the ruling government does not have ultimate control over how the resources in South Africa are redistributed? If there's one thing that you need in South Africa, just like we need in America as a result of the enslavement of our African ancestors, you need a redistribution of South Africa's wealth. A redistribution of the wealth. No one was forced to pay back what they stole. There can't be justice until there is restitution. And y'all have to make sure that you fight for restitution, not equality. Now, some people would say, Dr. Umar, what's wrong with fighting for equality in South Africa? What's wrong with black South Africa having the same chances as white South Africa? What's wrong with black South Africa having the same chances as Chinese South Africa? What's wrong with black South Africa having the same chances as East Indian South Africa? I'll tell you why. Equality will bring you more inequality. And the reason equality will bring you more inequality is because the Chinese has more resources than you do. The Anglo-Saxon has more resources than you do. The Boer has more resources than you do. The Indian has more resources than you do. So if the government gives you the same amount of help that they give to white people remain in charge. If the government gives black people the same amount of help they give the Chinese and Indians, the Chinese and Indians will still do better than black people. Because if you keep it equal, if you keep things equal, you never account for the inequity that was already there before apartheid ended. So we're not fighting for equality in South Africa. We're fighting for equity in South Africa. What is the difference between equality and equity? Equality says everybody gets the same amount, no matter how rich you are or how poor you are. This is why equality doesn't work. You can't keep unequal groups at the same level. You want equity. Equity says if the white man has 250,000 rand more than the black man, I have to bring the black man up to the level of the white man. Then we can practice equality. So, brothers and sisters, as you struggle, you make sure in parliament, in the streets, in the media, you let them know equity precedes equality. If equality precedes equity, there will always be inequality. And I want to say, as we fight and as we struggle, South Africa, you have to make sure that you keep abreast of the information, not only going on in your country, but around the world. If you're not reading an international newspaper every week, you're behind. If you're not reading a South African newspaper every other day, you are behind. Things are always changing, and you have to be on top of the most recent transformations. You must be intelligent. You must be knowledgeable. You must engage in critical analysis on a regular basis. And if you don't currently have a study group, y'all need to start one. At least once a month. We need to be coming together to study information about the South African past, the South African present, and most of all, what they're planning for the South African future. Because one thing I see on the horizon for South Africa, if we cut it out, and that is the fact that too many non-black Africans are gobbling up too much of South Africa's land. And if we don't stop the encroachment on South African land, your grandchildren's grandchildren may live in South Africa where black people own no land at all. We need to understand something. When we vote, when we organize, when we put our candidates out there, one of the things they have to fight is for the government of South Africa to invest in the business interests of South Africans. See, when the Chinese come to South Africa, they come with a line of credit from China. When the Indians come to South Africa, they come with a line of credit from India. When the Jews come to South, when the Arabs come to South Africa, they come with a line of credit from their native land. So if the South African government doesn't specifically and intentionally impact South Africans, we will be business interests of other races. You have to put people first. And I'm trying to understand, why are we so anxious? The country predominantly black. Why are we so anxious? Country historically black. Why are we so anxious in a country overwhelmingly black to say we black people first, brothers and sisters? I am Africanist. I am a Garveyite. I follow the teachings of the greatest pan-Africanist to ever walk this earth, builder of the largest movement in modern history, the right excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey. And as pan-Africanists, believe in putting black people first. Some of you have a problem with that because your religion has brainwashed you into thinking it's a sin against God to care about your people more than you care about others. One of the psychological disabilities of African people, South Bronx, from Alabama to Angola. The religions we belong to, not Christianity per se, but which you were taught it. Not Islam per se, you were taught it. Most Africans around the world are religion in a colorblind way that makes you feel like you're not allowed to see race and not see oppression. You must be able to see race. You must be able to see the differences between black and white. And anyone who tries to blind you to your reality in South Africa is an opportunist or an enemy of the African people. In addition to that, half of South Africa is under the age of 30. Half of South Africa is under the age of 30. That's a good thing. You know why? That politicizes the youth right now. If we conscientize the youth right now, if we organize the youth right now, we can have a new South Africa in 10 years. So we got to make organizing those 12 to 17-year-olds. We got to make sure we're organizing those 17, 24-year-olds. We got to make sure we're organizing those 24 to 30-year-olds because the future of South Africa will be in their hands. You're the youth right now, but in 20, 30 years, you won't be the youth anymore. So you have to make sure you are training those who are going to replace you. One of the biggest weaknesses in the African race, wherever we are in the world, is we are the only people who pray to God for their leaders while everybody else makes and grows their own. White people don't pray for leaders. Russians don't pray for leaders. They make them. Jews in Israel, they don't pray leaders. They make them. Black people, hands and knees, praying to God for leader. You don't need to pray to God for your leaders. Make them, grow them, and teach them. Brothers and sisters, one of the things we're going to have to organize, one of the things your generation is going to have to get right that my generation didn't, that is you're going to have to suffocate the ego of the. And what do I mean when I talk about the ego of the Negro? Most of you here are here for the complete and total liberation of South Africa, or for the return of the land and the resources in South Africa. But some of you are not here for the people. You are here for your ego. You are here to see what you can get out the movement. You are here to see what you can siphon off of the struggle. When we study the Black freedom Africa and America, the Caribbean, all throughout the world, we have to understand that there has always been a selfish impetus within the liberation struggle that undermined it, sabotaged it. You, brothers and sisters, or on the boa that lives inside of you. Every South African has a white man inside of them. The white man inside of them. Every Jamaican African, Brazilian African, Canadian African, because the whole African world has been victimized by white supremacy. So us on some level still has a cracker consciousness. The question is, do you recognize it? The question is, do you control it? The question is, do you study your enough and long enough to recognize inconsistencies so you can control them and prevent them from sabotaging your movement. Malcolm X was murdered for ego. Thomas Sankara was murdered for ego. Samora Machel, Eduardo Mondlane were murdered for ego. Walter Rodney in Guyana was murdered for ego. There's even a strong chance Chris Hani was murdered for ego. If somebody does something better than you do, are you man or woman enough? Are you humble enough? Are you graceful enough to say, you know what? You do that better than me. And for the sake of the people, I want you to be in charge. The problem with us as African people, we so used to being told what to do by white people that when it's time to be told what to do by black people, we want to get rebellious. We don't like internal racial authority because we ain't used to it. The white man told us he's the only person we got to listen to. So when we're all around black folks, we want to act a fool, but we never act a fool around the Caucasian. I need you to recognize the self-hate within yourself and tear it out. Because if you don't kill the Caucasian in you, the Caucasian in you will kill the black liberation struggle. My brothers, your sisters are not your problem. My sisters, your brothers are not your problem. We got to stop this back and forth male and female nonsense. United we stand, divided we fall. God made the woman to need the man, and God made the man to need the woman. The masculine principle and the feminine principle in nature are equal. One is not better than the other. So we have to stop blaming each other for problems that racism gave to all of us. Young people, make sure you are honoring your ancestors daily. In our culture, I don't care if you're Zulu, I don't care if you're Xhosa, I don't care if you're Swazi, Khoi, I don't care if you're Igbo, Yoruba, I don't care if you're Maasai or Kikuyu. All African cultures believe in the presence of our living dead. And our ancestors are our angels. They are the protection that is around us. And if we do not call on them, we will not have their support. Have you noticed? In South Africa, the white man names everything after one of his ancestors. He makes statues to all of his ancestors. All over the world, the white man is honoring his white ancestors, asking them to help them keep you in bondage. Are you asking your ancestors to help you liberate yourself from bondage? This war is as political as it is spiritual. And guess what? God, the Almighty, will not give us victory over white supremacy if all we want to do is imitate white supremacy. Let me explain something. We're not fighting for a free South Africa so you can wear Gucci and Louis. We're not fighting for a free South Africa. We're not fighting for a free South Africa so you can drive Mercedes Benzes and Louis Vuittons. We're not trying to remove the white man from capitalism to put a Negro in his place. We want to destroy white supremacy and its economic system of capitalism. One of the biggest contradictions in the global African freedom struggle, I see it everywhere I go. We act just like the people we're trying to get rid of. Black men are treating black women the same way white men treat white women. Black people are worshiping materialism the way white people do. Black people are tearing each other down, killing each other the same way white people do. Do you really thank God? Almighty Supreme Consciousness, the Most High, by whatever name you call, because no name is sufficient, God is beyond description. But understand, do you really think God is going to help us beat the white man just so we can replace him? The universe don't need another group of parasites, because that's what the Caucasian is. He's a parasite. And let me say this, South Africa. Let me say this. And I get in trouble for saying it, but it's true. Anybody in Africa, in any country, on any coast, in any province, if they are not a black African, they are not an African. They are a visitor, an invader, an opportunist, or a colonizer. I know the South African Constitution says South Africa belongs to everybody who lives in it. Why doesn't the Constitution of Israel say that? Why doesn't the Constitution say that? Why doesn't the Constitution of France or Belgium or the UK says that? I've never heard of a crime in my life. Break into somebody else's home, steal their land and resources. And because you've been stealing for so long, they want you to stay as a member of the family. A few weeks ago, I'm watching entertain President Ramaphosa in the House. Donald Trump is talking about land appropriation crimes. First of all, if you steal something from me and I come take it back, that's not land appropriation crime, that's land appropriation justice. But in that conversation, I was disappointed that President Ramaphosa did not take issue with Donald Trump's narrative. He did not provide any context. Did you not tell this man that y'all stole this land? Did you not tell this man white people are not indigenous to South Africa? Did you not tell this land what we went through in apartheid? Did you not remind this man that South Africa was one of the last countries to get their freedom and independence? You're just going to sit there and let this white supremacist disrespect your nation and not say a word back to him. But that's okay. And I don't seek to demonize the president, but I hold him accountable like I do anybody else. And you have to do the same thing. Some of y'all might ask, Dr. Urma, why are you so concerned about South Africa? You 20 hours away in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. What do y'all care in New York and Alabama? What do y'all care in Atlanta, in Houston? What do y'all care in Detroit, in Chicago? What do y'all care in Oakland and Cincinnati? I'll tell you why we care. Because central to pan-Africanism, true revolutionary pan-Africanism, is the principle that as the African continent goes, so goes all African people in the world, no matter where you live. If South Africa never gets free, Black America never gets free. If South Africa never gets free, Black Jamaica never gets free. If South Africa never gets free, Black Canada never gets free. If South Africa never gets free, Black Brazil will never get free. So I have as much interest in your freedom as you do, because as the mother goes, so goes all of her children. Marcus Garvey said, a strong man is strong everywhere. And that's true, because everywhere I go, Chinese are in power and they are respected. Wherever I go, Arabs have power and they are respected. Wherever I go, Jews and East Indians have power and they are respected. And everywhere I've been in the world, and I've been to every continent, Black people are disrespected and marginalized, even in Africa. So until we make up our minds that we're tired of being last, we will never be first. Because one thing is for certain, and two things are for true. God intended African people to rule this planet. You were never supposed to relinquish your divine control to the Caucasian. In this world, we'll never run right until Black people are back in charge. It don't make us better than nobody, but we have a natural, organic right to rule this earth. That's why we were the only people on it by ourselves for over 200,000 years. Do you realize if we never migrate out of Africa, you don't get Chinese? Do you realize if we never migrate out of Africa, you don't get Caucasians? Do you realize if we never leave Africa, you don't get East Indians? There would have been no other race if we never migrated the continent. All these other races are our children, and no parent allows their children to run their house. It is our job to take back control of the house. Brothers and sisters, it is important that we find a way to deal with our conflicts in a healthy fashion. One of the weaknesses of African people is our inability to handle conflicts in a reasonable and respectable manner. Somebody brought up the question to me yesterday. They said, Dr. Urma, what do you think about the immigrant crisis in South Africa, where we got Africans from other countries coming into South Africa, taking jobs from South African, breaking strike lines where South Africans are trying to struggle to get better pay and employment? And I said there would be no South African immigrant crisis if South Africa organized and created your own Department of Immigration. I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the community. So that if you coming from Mozambique, you check in with us first. You coming from Angola, you check in with us first. You coming from Botswana, you come and you check in with us first. You coming from Lesotho, you come and you check in with us first, and then we'll let you know what is okay for you to do in our, and we'll let you know what's not okay for you to do in our country. But the problem with us, we don't organize and we don't communicate with other Africans from other places. And then when they show up and do things against our interests, we're ready to cut them off. When if we would have invited them to the table for respectable conversation, we could have alleviated all the problems. Let us understand something. These 54, 55 countries we have, that is the work of neocolonialism. That's not the work of black people. We didn't sit down at the Berlin Conference in 1884 and 1885 and carve Africa up like a pie. White people did that. Some of you in South Africa got relatives in Zimbabwe. You got relatives in Botswana. There's no line to cut you off from your kith and kin. So why are you using white man borders to make enemies out of your own race? Brothers and sisters, we have an alcoholism problem in South Africa. Oh, y'all done woke up now. We got a couple drunks in here. Listen, brothers and sisters, I don't want you drinking. Do you know why people drink? I'm going to put on my psychologist hat for a minute. People drink to drown out problems they don't want to confront and overcome. People smoke to smoke away problems they don't want to conquer, face, and overcome. If you're addicted to marijuana, if you're addicted to cigarettes, if you're addicted to alcohol, if you're addicted to sex, if you're addicted to eating, if you're addicted to shopping, I already know you have a problem inside of you that you don't want to face. And the reason you became an addiction to a substance is because you're using that substance to distract you from yourself. Understand something. None of us are perfect. Everybody in this room has some sort of an emotional issue, whether you was abused by your parents. Maybe you don't know your parents. Maybe dad was abusive to mom. Maybe mom was an absentee. No matter what the situation is, you have an ill that you must fight. We all do. It's part of being human. But the difference between some of you and the others, some of you are going to face your demon and you're going to conquer it. And some of you are going to do what? Run away from your problems with liquor, cigarettes, and sex for the rest of your life. Make up your mind, brothers and sisters. One of the things I want to do in Africa is I want to help create a mental health treatment system in Africa. Because we got brothers and sisters. We got brothers and sisters in Africa who got problems and they need somebody to talk to and they don't know who to go to. And unfortunately, in Africa, there's a stigma that if you need to talk to somebody, you're somehow spiritually weak. It's the same thing in America. Your brothers and sisters across the pond, they need somebody to talk to, some of them, but I was told that if I'm a good enough Christian, Christ should be sufficient. If I'm a good enough Muslim, Muhammad should be sufficient. And Dr. Umar is here to tell you right now, your mental illness has nothing to do with your religion. Mental illness comes out of the fact that you live in an unhealthy society created by white people. This is why we got to take South Africa back. Because if we want black people to be healthy and if we want people to be whole, South Africa must be ruled by black people. I'm going to prepare to wrap this up in case there's time for questions. And of course, at the end, if anybody want to take a photo with Dr. Umar, we'll do that under the leadership of your leaders here. I want to say this, brothers and sisters. There are three main problems that are knocking on our doorstep as African people. And these three main problems are something that you're going to have to confront. Number one, land appropriation. There is an agenda to take Africa away from African people. They don't want nobody of black skin to own any sizable of land anywhere in the world. They're taking land from your brothers and sisters in England. They're taking land from your brothers and sisters in America. They're taking land from your brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, and they're taking land from brothers and sisters in Africa. We must hold on to the land, because if we lose Africa, we will be a race of slaves. If we lose our international homeland, we will be a race of slaves. There's no such thing as freedom without a land of your own. Number two, be careful of pharmaceuticals. They are pumping drugs into Africa, and some of y'all taking every drug they pump. You don't need the COVID shot, South Africa. That's Bill Gates' scam. You don't need autism shot. You don't need MMR. You don't need the flu shot. All these shots that they come up with are designed to compromise the black immune system. This is why we got so much cancer. This is why we got so much diabetes. This is why we got so much heart disease, because the chemicals that they are putting into the black body are designed to kill the black body. You are melanated. I need you to understand something. This black skin of ours, this is not a color. It is energy. It is a source. And this carbon in your skin, this energy interacts with everything you think, say, do, or digest into your body. And so when you're eating the white man's diet, you are compromising the health of your melanin. White people don't have as much melanin as black people, so they try to make you think melanin does not matter. Yes, it does when a black woman is pregnant. The sac that your baby is in inside your stomach, that's a melanated sac. When you have a wound on your skin, it turns black. That's melanin turning your skin black so we can heal the wound. The iris in your eye, that is melanin. We have more melanin than everyone else because we are more spiritual than everyone else. Melanin is God's genes. Young people, let me give you a little word for your future. Don't waste your time doing nothing with it. Social media is a waste of time. Use it for your organizing, but don't become an addict to TikTok. Don't become an addict to Instagram. Because guess what, young people? The older you get, faster your life goes. One day you 17, you wake up, you 25. One day you 25, you wake up, you 30. One day you wake up and you're 40, and you're going to look back on your life and say, what did I do with the time God gave me on this earth? Stop thinking you will always have a tomorrow. You don't always have a tomorrow. Get your life in order now. When I hear the South African government says they want to do something about crime, Dr. Umar scratches my head. You want to do something about crime, but you don't want to do anything about poverty. How does that work out? Help me understand how you want to do something about crime, but you don't want to do anything about poverty. Poverty is the soil that grows the tree of crime. If you don't attack poverty, you don't attack crime. and 56% of South Africa is living below the poverty line. And if I was on the government, you know what to do? South Africa is one of the world's leading producers of gold. South Africa is one of the world's leading producers of platinum. South Africa is one of the world's leading producers of iron ore. South Africa is one of the world's leading producers of diamonds. So guess what I'm going to do for every South African high school student? They're going to go to the mines and they're going to learn how to mine. They're going to learn the business of it. They're going to learn the investment of it. They're going to learn the trade of it. How have children in one of the most minerally rich countries on earth, and 56% of them are living in poverty? That don't make no sense at all. Train the children in the skills that can pay the bills. I want to close, but before I close, I want to give you my phone number in case you ever need to reach Dr. Urma. If you get into psychology and you need some advice, let me know. Into education and you need some advice, you let me know. If you're a parent and you have questions about your child, emotional problems or academic problems or psychological problems, that is my expertise. You call on me. So I'm going to give you my number. +1 is the code to America. You can add me on. You can text me at your leisure. +1 2 989 9858. Once again, +1 215 989 9858. I want to close with a story. A black man who was a pan-Africanist. But y'all need the number again? One more time. +1. Hold the 0 down to get your plus. +1 215 989 9858. One day I want to bring some of your American African brothers and sisters over here so we can have a nice big think tank. The American Africans and the South Africans organized together in one united front. What do you think about that, brothers and sisters? So there was a black man by the name of Booker T. Washington. He was a pan-Africanist. In fact, Marcus Garvey came from Jamaica to America to meet with Booker T. Washington. But when Marcus Garvey showed up, Booker T. Washington had already died. Booker T. Washington was born a slave. His mother was raped by the white man who owned his family in West Virginia. Booker T. Washington walked to Hampton Institute, a historically black college, to get an education. When he graduated, the principal of Hampton got a phone call asking if he had anyone who could come to Tuskegee, Alabama, to teach black children how to make a living. Booker T took the job. He got to Tuskegee. There was no school, so he had to use an old church and an old barn. When the first students of Tuskegee showed up, they asked Booker T. Washington, where's the lecture hall? Where's the class? Where's the cafeteria? Booker T. Washington said, you're standing on it. And he made the children dig up the ground. Students made their own bricks, built their own, they grew their own food, they sold their own clothes. They became so popular for making bricks that white people bought bricks from Tuskegee students instead of white companies. Booker T. Washington said, I need a scientist. He heard of another black, Dr. George Washington Carver, who was considered the number one scientist in the world at the, not black, but period. He also was the child of a slave. He was castrated as his penis from his body because white people thought he wanted to have sex with their kids, so they cut off his reproductive organ. Dr. George Washington Carver went to Tuskegee to help Booker T. And when he got to Tuskegee, he asked Booker T the same questions that the students asked before. Where's my lecture hall? Where's my science lab? Where's my staff apartment? And Booker T. Washington told George Washington Carver, all we have is what you see. And Dr. George Washington Carver went to the trash of the students, and out of the trash, he took paper, he took copper, he took aluminum, he took metal, and out of the garbage, he invented more than 300 products from the peanut. Out of garbage, he invented more than 400 products from the sweet potato. Out of garbage, he invented hundreds of products from the soybean. Why am I? Because our ancestors had nothing and did everything. We got everything. We ain't done much of nothing. I want to close with a quote from the Honorable Frederick Douglass, I'm related to by blood. My family was stolen from Nigeria in 1701. A black man named Bailey brought to County, Eastern Shore, Maryland. He married a black woman by the name of Selah, for whom my 14-year-old daughter is named. In 1745, they had Grandmom Jenny. In 1774, Grandmom Jenny gave birth to Grandma Betsy. She was born a slave. She married a free black man, my grandpa Isaac. They had 12 children. One daughter was named Harriet. Another daughter was named Young Betsy, my 5 times great-grandmother, born in slavery. In 1818, Aunt Harriet was raped by the slave master. So in February of 1818, she gave birth to the greatest black leader in American history. His name was Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey. At the age of 20, he ran away from slavery and changed his name to hide his identity. So in 1938, Frederick Bailey became Frederick Douglass. In 1819, his half-brother was born, Stephen, my 4 times great-grandfather. They were brothers because the master was their daddy, but they were cousins because the slave master raped 2 sisters. My grandpa, Caroline, she didn't learn how to read until slavery was over. Their firstborn, George Washington Bailey, my 3 times great-grandfather and the first public school teacher in Denton, Maryland. After the Civil War was over, and both of my grandfathers fought in the Civil War. So South Africa, don't you ever let anybody tell you Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves in America. Hell no. The slaves freed Abraham Lincoln in America. My grandpop George married my grandma Manny. They had my grandma. She moved to Philadelphia. She had my grandma Vivian. She married a Spanish-speaking African from Havana, Cuba. My great-grandfather Cicero, who I met on the bed. They had my grandma Ida. She met and married James Johnson. They had my father Maul Johnson. He met and married my mother Barbara and 21st in North Philadelphia. The anniversary of the Haitian Revolution. Anniversary of the Nat Turner Revolution. The anniversary of the Revolution. I was born. Frederick Douglass said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and deprecation are like men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They rain, but they're scared of the thunder or the light. They want the ocean, but they're scared of the roar of the water. Frederick Douglass said, a man may not get all you pay for, but you will pay for everything that you get. And if South Africa is ever to become free, you will have to pay for that freedom. You may have to pay with blood, you may have to pay with life, but freedom is not free. Frederick Douglass said, for 20 years I prayed on my knee freedom, but the good Lord gave me no freedom until I up off my knees and start praying with my feet. From white people, why do you look for pity? The man pities you will never respect you, and the man who respects you has no need for pity. No struggle, no progress. The Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who gave us the red, black, and green flag, and the greatest pan-Africanist movement of all time, and the greatest human organizer of all time. Mao copied Garvey. Hitler copied Garvey, although Garvey was not a racist. Mussolini copied Garvey. If you study white nationalism, you copied the program of Marcus Garvey. There would have never been Malcolm X if there wasn't an Earl and Louise Little. Malcolm X's mother were officers in the Garvey movement. Elijah Muhammad, who founded the Nation of Islam, he was a member of the Garvey movement. Every great black movement came Garvey. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana used to go to UNIs in Philadelphia and study Garvey. Patrice Lumumba would study Garvey. Robert Sobukwe of the Pan-African Congress was a student of the teachings of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Garvey said, and I want you young people to hear me well when I say this. Garvey said, without confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. Without confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life, but with confidence, you have won even before you have started. Marcus Garvey said, The greatest weapon used against African people is disorganization. Garvey said, we don't suffer because we black. We suffer because we're black and disorganized. Garvey said, if the black man and woman are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and use of it. Garvey, are you an African or are you a Jamaican? Are you an African or are you a Jamaican? And that black man stood up and said, you ask me, am I African or am I Jamaican? I tell you, I would never, ever give up a continent for an island. I am in Africa. South Africa, I love you.